All right, we're diving straight in today to untangle a really confusing rental application process. You can think of it like a detective story, but all of our clues are documents. We're going to follow a paper trail of emails, forms, and even text messages that leads to a pretty shocking conclusion. So here's the big question that's at the heart of this whole thing. How does an applicant get a welcome home email, get told to come pick up their keys, and then out of nowhere, the lease is voided? It's some serious whiplash, and we're going to follow the evidence to see exactly how we got from point A to point Z. To get to the bottom of this, we've got to go back. Let's follow the documents right from the very beginning of one applicant's journey. Okay, let's set the scene. We're heading back to August of 2024. This is where it all kicks off, with the first application to an apartment complex called Sink at West Dallas. And believe me, the confusion starts almost immediately. So, a friend of the applicant decides to help her out. He sends an email saying, "Hey, I've paid her security deposit." And right there, that single payment, it becomes the first big snag in this whole story. And boom, here's our first major disconnect. The management comes back and says, "Whoa, hold on. That wasn't a security deposit. That was for fees, application and admin fees, and they're non-refundable." You can already see how a simple mix-up like this can start a major communication breakdown. And look, the paper trail backs this up. Here's the actual receipt. It says right there, plain as day, payment type, application. The total amount is a perfect match. So, puzzle piece number one, the money was for fees, not a refundable deposit. The wires have already been crossed. All right, so that confusion over the fees, it quickly snowballs into an even bigger issue. The next roadblock is all about income. Management starts questioning if she even makes enough money to qualify for the apartment. And this is what they put in writing. An email from a manager just comes right out and says it. Her pay stubs don't show enough income. Case closed, right? Well, that's what you'd think until you actually crunch the numbers. Okay, so let's do the math together. According to the property's own rules, which they state in their emails, an applicant has to make twice the rent. Simple enough. The rent for this place was $1,328, so multiply that by 2. She needs to show she makes at least $2,656 a month. Got it. But, and this is a big but, here's the thing. Her pay stubs show she was making over $2,900 a month. I mean, that's clearly more than the $2,656 she needed. So based on their own rules, her income was fine. This just doesn't line up with what the manager said in that email. So she's hit this weird roadblock. She qualifies, but they say she doesn't. So she tries another angle, something pretty common in the rental world. She offers to get a guarantor. That's basically a cosigner, someone who guarantees they'll pay the rent if you can't. And listen, this isn't just her uncle or a friend stepping up. The applicant says that because she's a survivor of family violence, she has a program backing her. Her guarantor would be, wait for it, the County of Dallas. And they're not just co-signing, they're willing to guarantee her rent for a full 2 years. You'd think that would seal the deal, right? 2 years of rent guaranteed by the government? But no. The response from management is a hard stop. A flat, we do not participate in any programs. And just like that, her first application is dead in the water. Canceled. So you think that's it. Story over. But nope. We fast forward 8 months, and the paper trail picks right back up. And this time, it's with a second chance that kind of comes out of nowhere. So here we are. It's now April 2025. And she's back. The same applicant applies again, but for a totally different apartment this time. It really feels like a clean slate, a fresh start. And what do you know? This time, things go differently. She gets an email, and it's a conditional approval. I mean, think about it. After being totally shut down the first time, this is a massive win. You can't help but feel like things are finally looking up for her. And that conditional approval, it doesn't stay conditional for long. It escalates, and fast, into what looks like a full-blown official, yes, you're in. It really feels like this is it, the moment all that previous back and forth is finally in the rear view. I mean, look at this. It doesn't get more official sounding than an email that literally says, "Welcome home." They congratulate her, they say her application is approved, they're excited for her to move in. You read this, you think, okay, it's a done deal. Time to pack. And it's not just fluff. They follow up with all the details. They give her a move-in date. They tell her exactly how much money to bring for rent and fees. They even tell her to go sign the lease online. Every single email, every communication is screaming, this is happening. You've got the apartment.
And if you're still not convinced, get this. We even have text messages. This is the management texting her to set up a time to pick up her keys. The agent literally says, "Great, I'll see you soon." I mean, come on. At this point, she has every single reason in the world to believe this apartment is hers, period.
And then the rug gets pulled. After all of that, the welcome home, the move-in details, the texts about the keys, the story takes a nosedive. It's a sudden, sharp, and final plot twist. So what happened? On May 14th, with the lease seemingly signed and the move-in all but happening, the applicant herself sends an email. And in this email, she starts asking some serious legal questions. She brings up the Violence Against Women Act and mentions a possible breach of contract. And the reply she gets, it comes just hours later. It's from the property manager, and it is a total 180. He accuses her of misrepresenting herself. He says her lease is now voided. Her application, denied. That welcome home email, yeah, that's officially canceled. So when you lay out the whole paper trail, you see a qualified applicant who gets denied, then gets fully approved, and then gets denied again. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Where is the line between a deal being done and a deal being, well, undone? And what happens when an applicant who thinks they have a lease starts asking questions about their legal rights?